Good evening, Gopher fans, and welcome inside Huntington Bank Stadium for tonight's matchup between the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the number 25 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Tim Serb joining you in the booth along with Ahmed Hassan here on Radio K Sports for this exciting matchup between two really rivals. All-time series, Minnesota leads 37-25 along with two ties. Minnesota has won the last 5 matchups between these teams, the last coming 2 years ago in 2023, where the Gophers beat the Cornhuskers 13-10 on a Daniel Jackson toe-tap touchdown. So we'll see what happens in today's rendition. Ahmed, how are we doing today?
You know, I'm doing good, Tim. It's always good to call a night game, especially when they're back-to-back weeks, and especially when I'm in good company with you. But I think this is going to be a really, really, really good matchup today. I mean, Nebraska, the last time they won 2 straight games away was in 2006. So this is going to be big for Nebraska. I think Nebraska has shown what kind of team they are. They're ranked number 25. They're 25th ranked nationally this year, and they're an amazing team. Obviously, the player that's going to get the most headlines for them is Dylan Raiola. I mean, there's not enough words that could describe the type of talent Dylan Raiola is. But obviously coming off the back of a 3-pick game, not really looking his best self in that game, but I'm pretty sure he'll turn it around in Minnesota today.
Yeah, you mentioned a 3-pick game, but it was also a 4-touchdown game as the Cornhuskers beat Maryland, who really has been a surprise this year at 4-2. A good 4-1 matchup last week there in College Park, Maryland. But it was really just an offensive battle. I mean, Nebraska lost the turnover battle 3-0, and yet was still able to come out on top 34-31. A couple of stats for you. Dylan Raiola was 20 out of 29, 260 passing yards out of the air with those 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Emmett Johnson, what a career game for him, as he had 21 carries for 176 yards. The running back who we will come back to here shortly, as he is a huge storyline here today.
And yeah, Emmett Johnson, I think he's going to have himself a game, Tim. Emmett Johnson, this is his homecoming. Before this game, in many interviews on a Nebraska podcast, Emmett Johnson said that he had this game marked on his calendar. Minnesota, and Emmett Johnson, who played for Holy Angels and is from Minnesota and from Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is his hometown. He said he wanted to be offered by Minnesota. He wanted to get offered a scholarship. But Minnesota never offered him that. And he got offered by lower D1 teams until he found his way to Nebraska. And now it's going to be a homecoming. And so I expect Emmett Johnson to take this matchup very, very, very personally. And it shows in the way that he's been talking. He has it marked on his calendar, so let's see what he can do on the field. Emmett Johnson, who has 650 rushing yards this season already.
Yeah, along with that, he has 7 touchdowns, and it's going to be just an all-star bout from the running back perspective, as the Gophers, of course, with star running back Darius Taylor, who's definitely had some of his struggles this season. He was out with injury for a couple weeks after pulling his hamstring a bit in that Northwestern State game. Comes back against Ohio State, doesn't have a strong performance. Last week had a very, very abysmal performance, just 30 rushing yards. So the Gophers will look to totally capitalize on the run game today. Some important things to note with the Nebraska Cornhuskers defense. They have the number 1 pass defense in the country by yards allowed. However, their run defense has been abysmal to, I guess, compensate for that. Looking back at their only loss of the season, which was against then-ranked Michigan in Lincoln. Michigan ran for 280 yards in that matchup. Bryce Underwood looked subpar, the freshman quarterback for Michigan, with just 103 passing yards. But Michigan had 280 rushing yards, and that was how they ultimately beat Nebraska.
And it's important to note, Tim, especially when it comes to the run game, while that's something, any team would love to hear, that another team is abysmal at the run defense, Minnesota has been terrible in running the football. They have not been good at all, and it starts with their offensive line. Their offensive line has not been great at all this season, and they haven't been able to run. They're struggling in the interior of the offensive line, which has forced Darius Taylor to get most of his yards, especially against Purdue in the passing game. But Minnesota cannot afford to have a bad running game. This Nebraska defense is not going to let Minnesota play in this passing game unless Minnesota's receivers are feeling up to it, and if Drake Lindsey can make the play, Minnesota needs to find a way tonight to really get into the run game. It's something they've struggled with, but against this Nebraska team and this Nebraska defense that doesn't have many weaknesses, they need to take advantage of that. So Minnesota's offensive line, just straightforward, and for me to be blunt, they need to step it up. They need to step it up.
Yeah, that Gopher offensive line, not only have they not really been banged up, it's just they haven't been able to come together as a unit. I think they have two fantastic guys on the outside of the line, but the interior line, and especially those two guards, have just been a weakness, really, for the Gophers. I mean, last week against Purdue, the Purdue defensive linemen were just in the Gopher backfield constantly, not even just on the run plays, but they were putting pressure all over Drake Lindsey, who we'll get to in a second. But the offensive line as a whole, it's just they need to work together as a unit. They need to understand what their play calls are and just be able to execute, especially in a game like this one. Nebraska is known for their defense. They have always been known for their defense. And with a defense that is the best at pass defense in the country, that means that their rushers are getting home. Their rushers are getting pressure on these quarterbacks, especially the Big Ten opponents they've played, and that's why opponents only have 110 pass yards per game. Another thing to note here is the Gopher quarterback, Drake Lindsey. Drake Lindsey had his first big test against Ohio State just a couple of weeks ago. He did not pass that test necessarily. He had a great first drive, but overall in that game only had 93 passing yards, which I believe makes him susceptible to this Nebraska Cornhusker defense.
Yeah, and just to even feed off of that, Drake Lindsey, 60% completion rate, which used to be good back in the day, but in this age of elite college quarterbacks, that's just not the numbers that are going to get you considered as elite. So Drake Lindsey, he needs to be better with his decision-making in these types of games. We saw it against Purdue, and he just was looking flat. His decision-making wasn't up to it, and he needs to be more comfortable in that pocket. He needs to be more comfortable outside of the pocket. He needs to genuinely own it, is the best way I like to see it. When you're playing against a team and a defense like Nebraska, you can't have indecisiveness when throwing the football. With Purdue, you can get away with those mistakes, but Nebraska, you can't. Drake Lindsey needs to step up to the plate, and he needs to put his teammates, his receivers, in positions where they can catch the ball and make winning football plays.
Yeah, and I like those things that you've noted. Is Drake Lindsey last week was 21 for 45, 232 passing yards, 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. But one of the things I noticed out of him was just his hesitation in the pocket. Where he found a lot of trouble was when he actually stayed in the pocket. I think me and you had discussed beforehand that Drake Lindsey had been struggling a little bit out of the pocket. I think I disagree a little bit. It's when he's been in the pocket where he has struggled a bit. He feels the pressure of the defensive lineman. He feels like he either has to get it out and try and throw something that perhaps isn't there, which was definitely the case on his 1 interception last week, or he just holds on to it and gets sacked.
Yeah, and agreeing with you, too. I mean, in the pocket, it's one of the most important aspects to have as a QB, especially in the Big Ten. This league is not kind to you if you hold on to the ball too long, and that's something Minnesota has struggled with. Drake Lindsey has struggled with. He is a young QB. It's his first year starting, so he does get some leeway, but he needs to work better within that pocket, and he needs to be more effective with the receivers he has. I mean, Lemeki Brockington and Jalen Smith alone are talented receivers. But on the other side of this, you're looking at Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola is regarded as one of the best QBs in football at the moment. He is a talent. Almost over 1,500 yards this season for 16 touchdowns, and has only thrown 5 interceptions and has just over a 70% completion rate this season.
Yeah, definitely, I guess before last week with those 3 interceptions he added on, but definitely a Heisman candidate, as Nebraska is ranked, not really for the first time in a long time, but last year they were ranked around the 20s before they finally tapered off after what was a similar situation. I think another storyline for them is last season they were 5-1 going into week 8 of college football, where they got to visit Indiana, and Indiana absolutely pummeled them, put up 53 points on them, and Nebraska's season just went a little topsy-turvy from there, where they were also wearing their white uniforms. They're all white uniforms today, which they are wearing. And Matt Rule, before this game, was said, we're going to wear our all whites, and we're going to come to Minnesota, and we're going to play the game. So I don't know how much superstition goes into it.
And Tim, I think Matt Rule is really trying to break this curse at the moment. Dylan Raiola told Matt Rule, "Hey, I want to wear the whiteouts." And what Matt Rule said was, "If you're gonna wear the whiteouts, you better win." And it's not a trend that we've seen. Nebraska failing to win back-to-back road games since 2006. It's not going to be an easy thing, but I think a key thing for this Minnesota defense against Raiola is that Raiola's completion percentage it plummeted from 83% in a clean pocket to just under 60% when he's facing pressure. So what this Gopher defense needs to do is pressure the quarterback. They really need to make it uncomfortable for a player like Raiola to make plays, because it's shown when he's facing pressure, he's not as efficient as he usually is, which can be said for a lot of QBs, but it's one to really note.
Yeah, and definitely in those games where he's had to play those more elite defenses, and especially in the Michigan game and in the Maryland game last week, like, he's played well. He's had 7 touchdown passes combined in those 2 games, but he also had 4 interceptions, which is 4 out of his 5 on the year, meaning he's feeling more rushed. He's feeling more like he has to try and be the gunslinger that he is trying to be. Of course, many comparisons have been made between him and Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of his mannerism, but it's also how he plays the game of football. He likes to be a gunslinger, and Mahomes sometimes is susceptible to the interception, and so is Raiola, except he's, of course, a little younger and is still building his way up. But last week, his QBR was just 79. That's how abysmal his interceptions just made that seem. But he was also 20 of 29, so he was still being very efficient while doing so. So I think it's just a mix and match a little bit for him of, can he withstand the pressure of what appears to be a very close to sold-out Huntington Bank Stadium once people file in, just over 10 minutes before game starts. But how can he encounter this road environment again? Because last week against Maryland, he was away. Maryland not exactly known to be a hard stadium to play in necessarily, but today definitely a little more of that.
I think what Dylan Raiola needs to do exactly is, and it sounds so straightforward, but he needs to remember who he is. You are a 5-1 team. You are leading this team, and you are nationally ranked. If you're Dylan Raiola, you are playing for more than just the pride's sake. You're playing for your team. You're playing for a spot in the college football playoffs. You need to come in here and make your stand. You want to wear the whiteouts? You need to prove that you can win with the whiteouts. And that's and that's one thing that you want to see from Raiola. This is a player who's so talented. Obviously, when you compare him to Patrick Mahomes, you're touching into a whole nother story. But Raiola really just needs to be confident and remember who he is. Short memory is so important for QBs, especially in this day and age where increasing plays, you're getting more sophisticated, you're taking more risks. So, yes, you're going to throw more picks. But Raiola needs to remember who he is this game, and he cannot let history define him this game. And another thing that Minnesota, though, I want to touch back on this defense, is that they need to be able to contain the run game. Emmett Johnson is no joke. And Minnesota has given up 9 runs of 10 or more yards, including a 40-yard touchdown against Purdue last week. So obviously this run defense has not been as safe as you would expect it to be.
Yeah, that Gopher defense has been a little mix and match. I think just the personnel has been changing so much. There's about 20 people who have gotten sufficient amounts of playing time on the Gopher defense, as throughout certain points of the game, like especially last week, Maverick Baranowski was down injured at least 3 times. So you just have a mix and match of who's in there defensively. There's been a lot of zones called, a lot of cover 2, which I know I have my personal opinions on cover 2, that it only works in the NFL. But there's just a lot of open space, and there's not a lot of guys that have the closing speed to catch up with somebody like an Emmett Johnson or like any of the other running backs the Gophers have played so far this year. Like Antoine Raymond against Rutgers, he was running wild. So it's going to be really a challenge for the Gopher defense. I think a good challenge. really that's what this game is for me. Is it's a really good challenge. This is the best home game you have. This is the time you have a friendly environment before you go off to Iowa City and eventually Autzen, which is not going to be a friendly environment for the Gophers at all. But here's a chance to gain some confidence going into that tougher part of the schedule.
100%, and I couldn't agree with you anymore, Tim. It's a game of Nebraska playing to their game, but also Minnesota standing their ground. Last week they showed fight, and they need to show that fight once again.
We will take a pause for the national anthem. Once again, a beautiful national anthem here at Huntington Bank as the stadium is filling in. Disturbing for me amount of red in the crowd. We know Nebraska's fans love to travel well because what else are you going to do in the state of Nebraska? So that'll definitely be an element to check in on later.
Is that a slight dig at Nebraska, I see, Tim?
Not a dig. I'm saying their fans travel well. maybe a slight dig at the state. But as we get closer to game time, Ahmed, I'm curious as to your predictions on the game. Give me a score prediction and one thing that you think's going to happen.
Score prediction. I think Nebraska are going to continue the curse. I think they're not going to win back-to-back road games, but I think it's going to be closer than we think. I think it's going to be 27-24 Minnesota.
27-24.
And I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to see a big passing game from Darius Taylor, and I think we're going to see an impressive game from Coy Parrish.
Coy Parrish, I like it. My personal prediction, I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. Minnesota may be playing a little bit of catch-up, but I like the high-scoring bet. I think Nebraska's going to be able to pull it out in the end, though. I know I'm betting against my own team as much as I'd like Minnesota to win. They can shock me for all I care, but I'm going to go 34-31 Nebraska. I think the big play of the game, Coy Parrish coming off an interception return for a touchdown last week, I think he's going to do it again.
I think he's going to do it again, too.
Coy Parrish, pick 6, mark it. That's my prediction.
You dying on that, right?
Oh, I'm dying on it.
I've marked it then. It's over. I've marked your prediction, Tim, and I think we're both betting men today. I think it's safe to say that.
Well, there's just over 5 minutes to game time. We're going to take a quick break here on Radio K Sports. Once we bring it back in, we will have the opening kickoff for you. Minnesota, Nebraska, Friday Night Football when we return. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank as we're getting set for the Gophers to come out of the tunnel. As you can hear, the student section is almost full. Vibes are high here in the bank. As the fireworks go off, we are going to get set for kickoff. What a time to be alive. Friday night football. No, it's not very common for us here in Minnesota to have Friday games. This year we have 2 of them, which is very odd. But we'll take it.
Yeah, and I mean, Tim, as a player, like, these are the nights you dream of. I mean, I could only tell you how many of these players are probably sitting to themselves saying, hey, this is where we want to be in a couple years when we're playing college football.
A loud amount of boos as the Cornhuskers leave the tunnel. Once again, Nebraska in their all-white uniforms. Red numbers, red on the helmets. Pink socks on them all. Actually, Nebraska on their Instagram released a picture of their helmet with pink, so I wonder if they did put pink on their helmets. Nevertheless, it looks all white from up here, so that's what we're going to go with. The Gophers in their all maroons today. Maroon tops, pants, and helmets. As we get set, captains come to midfield for the coin toss. Minnesota, of course, Derek LeCaptain, 6th-year man. Quick update, there was someone questionable for the Gophers. It was cornerback John Nestor, who's had a huge season so far. 3 interceptions and just been a defensive menace out there. The transfer from Iowa, he is in today.
And that is news that the Gopher fans would love to hear. John Nestor, he's such a talent, and he's such a dog for this Gopher team. I mean, the one thing, Tim, I do want to say, these 2 teams are coached by wonderful coaches.
PJ Fleck, the man who the Gophers extended in the offseason up until 2030. 62-41 in his career at Minnesota here in his 9th season. Nebraska, of course, coached by Matt Rule in his 3rd season, 17-14. Probably not the most success as you'd like to see coming after getting fired from the Carolina Panthers, but he's really built this program up.
He really has, and he deserves all the credit. I mean, the way he's coached his players, too, he has great talent and great players. But an ability many people don't have is to be able to get the best out of them. And even PJ Fleck, before this game, he said that he is facing an elite Big Ten quarterback this week against Nebraska in Dylan Raiola. So there's mutual respect between these teams, and there's an understanding that this isn't going to be an easy game. Nebraska knows that. But PJ Fleck also knows that, and he knows that his team is talented.
Of course, Minnesota no stranger to winning ranked games. Last year, 2 big wins against ranked teams. One here at the bank against then number 11 USC. They even took a road victory against number 24 at the time, Illinois, last year. So PJ Fleck knows how to get it done as Dylan Raiola runs over to the end zone right by the student section just to be met with an enormous amount of boos.
And that's what I love to see, Tim. That is exactly what I want to see from Dylan Raiola. This is Friday night football, Tim. He's going to the fans. He's telling them, I'm here. He's making his statement known early.
Nebraska won the coin toss, and they chose to defer. So the Gopher offense will start with the ball, and we'll get to see the first of Drake Lindsey in his Friday night Big Ten debut.
Tim, is there any other place you'd rather be on a Friday night?
I do not think so. The atmosphere in here is absolutely electric. Although the seats have not yet filled completely, I'd say about 90% full. As Nebraska kicker John Hole is set to kick it away.
Yeah, and this crowd is just electric. It's electric, Tim, and You know, Minnesota always brings it with their home fans.
Kick is up and away. Coy Parrish, the return man, is going to let it go out the back of the end zone, and out comes Drake Lindsay. Drake Lindsay, of course, we mentioned, not the most efficient performance of all time last week. Completing just 46.7% of his passes, but showing a little bit of poise, showing a little bit of maturity, not making too many unfixable mistakes, not trying to force anything and cause turnovers, which is something that the Nebraska defense has really struggled with this year. Just 9 turnovers with the favorable schedule they have had. It's been quite a thing to note.
And Minnesota needs to start strong with this first drive here, Tim. They need to make a statement.
Darius Taylor, the back. Lindsay out of the shotgun. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Lindsay will take the snap, hands off to Taylor. Finds a little bit of running room. He's going to get up to the 29. A gain of 4. A good sign from the Gopher offensive line here early.
Yeah, it's a great sign. Getting Darius Taylor into this game early and putting the pressure onto this defense early is going to be really important in setting a standpoint against Nebraska here today.
It was Javen Wright on the tackle. But yeah, just seeing an open hole on that offensive line and not a bunch of Cornhuskers in the backfield, not something that the Gophers were able to do against Purdue. Lindsay under center. Taylor the back, 2 receivers right. He'll hand off once again to Taylor, runs right into a swarm of Cornhuskers. He's going to get about 1.5 yards up to the 31. First third down opportunity for Minnesota. It's going to be a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, and Minnesota wasn't the best last week in third down conversions in that first half. So they need to be positive on these third downs this game, especially against a strong defense in Nebraska.
What will likely be an early passing test here against the #1 pass defense in the country. Javon Tracy motioning and coming back to the right side. 2 receivers left. Lindsay takes the snap. A little screen play to Javon Tracy. He's not going to get the first down. Tried to cut up field past some blockers. Only got about a yard. So Tom Weston, someone we saw a lot of last week, the Gopher punter, is going to be on once again to punt it away to Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, Tim, not the best, play for them. But what I'm happy to see is that these screen passes, much better pass from Lindsay, much more confidence and intent in his throwing there. And it's positive, but not the best way to start it. But it's positive to see the confidence there early.
Nothing comes of the first Minnesota drive. Tom Weston's punt is up and away, a good one. They're going to mark it out of bounds. He does not give it to Ja'Cory Barney Jr., the return man for Nebraska. Still waiting on a spot from the referees. It's going to be about at the 25-yard line is where Nebraska will start their first drive.
And now Dylan Raiola, he'll be glad to start out with the ball this early. Not the best drive from Minnesota there. Nebraska's defense doing what they do best in pass defense. Dylan Raiola, he's going to make his statement early, especially with Emmett Johnson.
Nebraska going on offense toward the student section. I wonder how that's going to be. Fakes a run. He's going to pass it outside. A good tackle made by Zaquan Bryan, showing that he's ready for this game early. It's going to be a gain of 3 yards on the outside for Isaiah Hunter, one of the Cornhuskers' 3 big receivers, Barney and Dane Key, the other 2 huge receivers so far, all above 400 yards receiving on the season. Raiola out of the shotgun. Johnson to his right. Fakes a handoff once again. A couple Gophers in the backfield, and Anthony Smith's going to bring him down. Huge play here early from Anthony Smith. Catches Raiola from behind as he tried to escape left. And we've got 3rd down and long for Nebraska.
Amazing from Anthony Smith just to get in there, forcing that pressure like we said before the game. Putting Raiola under pressure is going to create positive plays for this Gopher defense.
Gopher defense should look for Dane Key. Nebraska's gone to him on these crucial 3rd downs. Raiola out of the shotgun. Johnson to his left. Drops back to pass. Wants the long ball. Way over the head, intended for Isaiah Hunter. That was Jayonte McMillan in coverage, and boy, what a week he had last week. Transfer from TCU with the game-winning deflection in the end zone. Comes up again here.
McMillan, I mean, what a game last week. Dylan Raiola had so much time in that pocket, just overthrowing the football, but great coverage by McMillan and great first drive by this Gopher defense.
Nebraska set to punt it away. Coy Parrish, the return man, back to get it. He'll back up and catch it at about the 24. Nothing going as he'll get swallowed up right where he caught it. Tried to stutter step, make a couple moves, but there were 4 Cornhuskers right there in the area. And Minnesota will be back on offense. We'll take a quick break here on Radio K Sports. Nothing comes of the first drive for either team. Minnesota ball when we return. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank as the Gophers are set to start their second drive. Nebraska's defense able to stop the Gophers the first time on third down. I think they would expect the pass. I think Minnesota's going to have to try and establish the run, something they showed that they wanted to do on that first drive, as Minnesota's run game's really struggled a lot this year. Drake Lindsey has become really the focal point of this offense, just passing, passing, passing. The Gophers passed 45 times last week. So we'll see what the play calls are here on this drive.
Yeah, and Tim, I think the Gophers are going to do more of the same. They're going to run the football a lot with Taylor and Ijiboy, but I think they're going to seek more passes than you think. I think they should challenge this #1 defense in the passing game.
Lindsey under center, Taylor the back. They're going to hand it off, a flag on the play. Taylor charges forward for about 2 yards before hitting a wall of Cornhuskers. We'll check on the flag. Came right as the ball was snapped. It's going to be offside on Nebraska. It'll be 1st and 5. A good start for the Gopher drive, although they didn't cause it at all.
They may have not caused it, but they'll take it. That's for sure. I mean, yeah, got to be better. Those are the types of calls, if you're Nebraska, if you're Matt Rule, you just don't want.
It was McCullough on the offside. So Gophers going to go with the similar play here. Lindsey under center, Taylor the back, Brockington moving on the outside. Fakes the handoff. Drake Lindsey rolling out. He finds Jamison Gears over the middle. It's going to be a gain of about 4 up to the 32. Be 2nd down and short. Let's give you a chance to go for a little bit of a shot here. A little bit of a confidence play perhaps.
Yeah, 100%. And Tim, Drake Lindsey actually had Jalen Smith open there too, and Lemecki Brockington. The choice to go with Gears, it was positive, but he should look downfield and play it to those wide receivers.
Lindsey instead choosing to go with the safe pass. 2nd and 2, they'll mark it. Out of the shotgun, Frank Bierman motioning from left to right. Fumble on the snap. It's picked up by Darius Taylor, who's going to dive ahead, get close to the first down. Man, that could have been a disaster. I don't know if Lindsey wasn't ready for it or what it was. The snap was a little bit low and to his left. Thank goodness Darius Taylor saw it right away before Nebraska pounced on it.
Yeah, and Darius Taylor, actually, he catches that just in time to get it, and very fortunate to get that play there. The Gophers need to just find a way to push Darius Taylor in for this first down.
Be 3rd and inches. Darius Taylor out the Wildcat. Cam Davis, the back to his left. He'll fake the handoff, take it himself, finds a lot of space, and he's going to get about 5, maybe 7 yards. Powering ahead is Darius Taylor. This is the kind of Darius Taylor that we've become accustomed to seeing here in Minneapolis.
And you can hear this crowd, Tim, and that's Darius Taylor at his core. Taking Cam Davis, great blocking there, but Darius Taylor, the way he shifts in and out, great positive yardage, and that's a first down for the Gophers.
Gophers have found a lot of success with Darius Taylor out of that Wildcat formation. Works again this time. Ball on the 40-yard line of Minnesota. Lindsey back in. Shifts to the shotgun. Cam Davis the back in. He'll take the snap. Hand off to Davis. Powers ahead. Good blocking scheme from the offensive line to about the 45-yard line. Gain of 5 on first down.
And again, it's the blocking, Tim. I don't know what they fed these O-linemen this game today, but they are blocking so well today. They are giving these extra yards for Taylor and Davis to just make plays with the football.
Yeah, notable thing on the Nebraska run defense is they graduated 2 of their can the play. And Darius Taylor's wrap. Welcome back inside the bank as the Gophers are set to start their 2nd drive, looking to build on the momentum that they built on the first drive. On their last drive. I think what they're going to have to do here is you're going to have to just rely on that ground game. You're just going to have to challenge that Nebraska run defense. There's no reason to go away from it. I mean, you just had a 71-yard run and a touchdown in 4 plays. They'll go back to it as Darius Taylor runs into a swarm of defenders. They get ahead for about 1 yard.
And it also starts with Drake Lindsey, and it also starts with growing him into this game. Drake Lindsey really finding his footing, really demanding a lot recently in this game so far. He's growing into it. And that's what you want to see, especially in a young quarterback like Lindsey, who needs to find his footing early.
Nothing much on first down. They'll look to capitalize on 2nd down. Lindsey barking out orders to his offensive line. They'll switch into that I formation. You'd expect a run. Still 2 receivers to the right. Lindsey takes the snap. He's going to go to Taylor. Find some room on the outside. He'll get ahead up to almost the 45 for a 3rd down and manageable. Be about 3rd and 4 for Minnesota.
And Darius Taylor. I mean, you can't run out of great things to say about him, but this Gopher blocking in this game has been crucial to getting him that space that he needs and that he hasn't been able to find recently. A lot of his yards coming against Purdue in the passing game.
We're going to give Taylor an extra half yard, so it'll be 3rd and 3. Taylor's still the running back. 2 receivers, 1 left. Lindsey will take the snap. They'll run with Taylor. Looking to find some open space. Cuts back toward the first down. It'll depend on the spot, but I think he's just a bit short. Decision time for P.J. Fleck. He's about a half yard short. Gopher offense is staying on the field. I like this decision by P.J. Fleck. You're playing a ranked team. You need to get some momentum. Although the Gophers have struggled on 4th down.
I love this decision by Fleck. I absolutely adore it. But the Gophers cannot go wrong here on a decision like
P.J. Fleck calls his 2nd timeout of the half. The Gophers will discuss what they want to do. And I don't hate that decision as much as I may have just looked at it with my facial expression. But take some time to think about it. You don't want to rush it too much. If you can't catch the Nebraska defense off guard, you may as well take your time and think about it. The Gophers have struggled heavily on 4th down. Just 25% conversion percentage, 2 for 8. are the Gophers. So you'd love to see them go for something like this, try and build a little bit of confidence in their offense. But you also know what doesn't work. They've tried some runs to the outside, not really much going. I wonder if you go up the middle, as I am proven wrong, as out of the timeout they send in the punt team.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that decision, Tim. The Gophers so far, there's still 10 minutes left to go in this half. They've gathered 102 rushing yards. They're beating this team down. You need to go for that. You're doing great in the running game. This Nebraska defense can't defend it. You need to go for that, and I disagree with that decision really heavily.
Tom Weston with a high arcing punt to Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Fair catch made at the 19 of Nebraska, and that's where they'll start.
Yeah, and Tim, that's just, you're giving Royola an opportunity with a lot of time to grow into this game. And Royola is not a player that you want to grow into a game. He's that talented of a player, and you've seen it affect him. I don't agree with that decision by Fleck, but I think Royola needs to come up with a drive and get his team back into this.
PJ Fleck will rely on his defense. Raiola out of the shotgun. Emmett Johnson, the running back, they'll hand it to him. Finds some green grass to run ahead for about 3 yards. Diving forward past the offensive line. And Ahmed, one of the big things that I don't think I touched on much is that the Nebraska offensive line is a unit that has really been struggling to find themselves as well. They had 3 people graduate from last year, some guys who started almost 60 games in Husker uniforms, and they've definitely been feeling that void here early. It was a huge problem in that Michigan game. Raiola taking sacks. Under center, he'll fake the pass, getting chased in the backfield by Baranowski, completes to Lindemeyer, who's going to barge up past the 35, avoiding a tackle. A great play made by Raiola to Lindemeyer for a Husker first down.
Yeah, and Lindenmeyer, it's the pass after the yards. Devin Williams tries to bring him down, but Lindenmeyer is such a big guy, able to get yards after the catch, and that's a really good play for Nebraska, and it's a great job by Raiola to find him.
It's a 6'3", 250-pound tight end. Not an easy guy to bring down, even for Devin Williams. We have first down Nebraska from the 35. Raiola will hand and fake and throw over the middle, complete. Finds some open space before finally being pushed out of bounds all the way down by the 20. Oh, what a play by Raiola. Had half the Gopher defense fooled into thinking that was Emmett Johnson who was going to take it, and it's complete to Quinn Clark.
And Quinn Clark, he even fakes the cameraman. Quinn Clark stays in that position in the center and is able to find so much yard through that hole. Great job by Quinn Clark, and great job by Nebraska and Matt Rule for that play call. Dylan Raiola does a great job there as well, but that's positive yards if you're Nebraska, and that's not necessarily bad Gopher defense, but they need to do better in containing that.
And the slant will always beat the zone defense, especially over the middle when you're expecting a run. Emmett Johnson here on first down, trying to find some space. Avoids a few tackles before barging his way inside the red zone and up to the first down marker. It's going to be first down from the 11 for Nebraska.
And Emmett Johnson just playing with his food. Goes not through 1, not through 2, not through 3, but 4 Gopher defenders weaving his way through there. It's been a really good homecoming for Johnson, who had 36 yards so far on 8 carries.
It was an impressive run as he found the initial contact from Zaquan Bryan, bounces off him, bounces back inside, just dragging Gophers down to a first down at the 11. Raiola under center, Ja'Cory Barney motioning across. They'll give it to Johnson again. He gets swallowed up by Maverick Baranowski right away.
Maverick Baranowski, and PJ Fleck this week said he's the most selfless player on this team, Tim.
Baranowski's been a huge impact man for the Gophers. He's had his fair share of cramping/injury problems so far this season, the 6th-year man has. But man, has he been good. The Gopher defense looking to make another stand here with Nebraska in a similar position to their last drive. 6:30 and counting left in this half. Raiola out of the shotgun. Johnson still to back. They're going to run a trip set right off the line. Raiola looking to pass, and he's going to get swallowed up. Carter Menz takes him down. What a game so far for the redshirt sophomore.
Carter Menz, I mean, he's just prancing at Raiola. Raiola, he's hanging on to this football too long, and his line is not doing a good enough job protecting him right now. This Nebraska offensive line is pooping at this game, Tim. They're not doing good. In this Gophers defensive line, they're pressuring Raiola, and they're getting plays on him.
Once again, third and very long this time for Nebraska, 3rd and 16. It'll be Raiola out of the shotgun. Johnson, the running back, watching for the check down. It'll be a quick screen play on the outside, caught and taken down right away is, can't see who caught that, number 19, Cortez Mills Jr., just with a quick play. And Nebraska's going to have to settle for yet another field goal.
And
there is a flag on the play as the referees are discussing it. Wonder if the Gophers jumped off sides.
And this could be a huge get-out-of-jail card for Nebraska.
Hopefully it's not a defensive holding, as that would cause an automatic first down. We await the call. It's unnecessary roughness on the offense, which will just push the field goal attempts back even further. But good news for Minnesota.
And Tim, it's just, yet again, Tim, this Minnesota defense did exactly what they did on the earlier drive when they had another field goal. They're saying, get to the end zone, get to the red zone, and we're gonna stop you. And Minnesota has done a great job. And
well, after the unnecessary roughness penalty, I was unaware of this. The Nebraska offense is still out there on the field. I guess it's not a loss of down. But now there's confusion on the field, as I'm confused, because that should be 4th down.
And the referees are just reviewing something down there.
Not sure what they could possibly be reviewing on that play, as it looked pretty clear-cut to me. They call the unnecessary roughness. That should be a 15-yard penalty on Pritchett. That should just push Nebraska back on their field goal attempt. It should be 4th down.
Yeah, it should be 4th down, and I'm just confused at what the officials are taking a look at. But while they're taking a look, Tim, this Gopher defense has accepted this challenge fully, and they've done a great job at just containing this Nebraska, this really versatile Nebraska offense in the red zone.
Trying to look up the rule myself to see if it should be 3rd down. It says on the scoreboard 3rd and 25, which would mean Nebraska would have another chance to try and get a little bit closer on the field goal. So I think all of us up here in the booth are baffled as to what they could possibly be reviewing. Got a replay here up on the board. I'm going to try and see what I can see. Not much there. They slowed it down. Referee now back out to try and find some clarification. And they're going to call a targeting on the offensive lineman.
And he's disqualified.
He's going to be disqualified. That's Elijah Pritchett, a man I had mentioned coming in, the transfer from Alabama, and that's going to be a humongous loss for Nebraska, possibly game-changing. Nebraska's offensive line has already been struggling, and now they're down a man.
Yeah, and Tim, and you can even see P.J. Fleck, as they were discussing that, he's livid at the referees, just screaming in their faces. He's livid. That is a huge loss for Nebraska. You mean you're already down 4 in this game, and your offensive line already isn't doing well. To lose another lineman due to targeting, it's not a recipe for success for this Nebraska offense.
So I guess I am mistaken on the rule book, as it is 3rd down and 27, as we have yet another blowing of the whistle by the referees. They're confirming that the penalty's enforced on the right hash due to it being a screen play on the right side. Not sure how you mess that one up in Big Ten football, but yet another stoppage. And now we finally have 3rd down and 27. Raiola takes the snap. Getting pressured, rolls outside, makes a man miss. He's going to slide down inside. I thought he was going to get close to that 1st down marker as he gets inside the 15 to make it a little bit easier of a field goal.
Yeah, great work by Raiola. Obviously doesn't result in the 1st down, but he gets great yardage for the field goal unit, and at least it gets you something positive. It gets you points on the scoreboard, and it's in a still very close game, Tim.
Kyle Cunningham in to try the field goal, looking right into that giant Gopher on the screen. It's going to be a 30-yarder. Snap, hold up, and good. And the Huskers cut the lead to 1 with 4:25 left in the half. Minnesota plenty of time to run a series of offensive plays before halftime, given that Nebraska will receive the second half kickoff.
And again, it's just the story of this half has been Minnesota's defense in the red zone. They've risen up to the challenge, Tim, and they've had made really big plays, whether it's Baranowski, whether it's Kawante Brown, whether it's Kerry Brown, and these players are making big plays. Devin Williams. This has been a really tremendous job by this Minnesota defense, and they're stepping up to the challenge against a really tough Nebraska offense.
Yeah, I think what you're saying there is it's really about stepping up when it really matters most. When you're backed up against the wall, something that Minnesota's struggled with is red zone defense, and so far today they've been able to step up, get some clutch sacks, move them back, gets aided by the unnecessary roughness and targeting penalty, and really Raiola's just running around like a madman when they're inside the red zone, and that's not a recipe for success.
No, not at all, and especially as talented as Raiola is, given the ability he has to make those types of plays, the Gophers have they've really taken away his options.
And Nebraska, as I had mentioned, has like a three-headed monster of receivers that they can go to. Ja'Cory Barney Jr., Dane Key, and Isaiah Hunter, all with a combined 11 touchdowns on the year. But combined, they only have 2 catches for 13 yards, and all of them are by Hunter. So not something you want to see if you're a Husker fan, but something you would love to see as a Gopher fan.
And Isaiah Mosey and Emmett Johnson, 2 very good running backs, but this homecoming isn't going the way Emmett Johnson would have liked it to go. I mean, only 9 carries and 35 yards to show for it. Johnson just hasn't been able to get that breakaway run that he so desperately wanted, while Darius Taylor's gotten that. And so it's interesting to see the battle and the dynamic between those 2 players as we're getting ready for it.
Well, we'll take one slight break here before the kickoff as Nebraska brings it within 1. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back after that quick break as Nebraska is getting set to kick it off back to the Gophers. You have 4:25 left in this half. You have plenty of time to orchestrate a nice, efficient drive and try and go up by just a little bit more here before halftime.
Yeah, and the key word, like you said, Tim, is orchestrate. I love that word. Drake Lindsey, he needs to keep doing what he's doing. He needs to control the tempo of this game, but he also needs to understand that he needs to make the risky passes. He needs to really demand a lot from this game.
Drake Lindsey so far today, 5 for 5 as the kickoff is grabbed and is going to get returned up to only about the 13-yard line. That was Cam Davis who took it. Nebraska putting the kick toward him to try and keep Coy Parrish away from the ball, and I do not blame them at all.
No, great job by this Nebraska field goal unit, or punt return unit, excuse me, to force the Gophers not into the best, position right now. But it's time to see what the Gopher offense can do. I mean, Darius Taylor has just shown complete composure this game in running the football.
Fame Ejeboy the back in. Lindsey under center. They'll hand it to Ejeboy, trying to find some room. Not much there. He's going to get ahead for about 2 yards up to the 21. What I had been mentioning before the kickoff, Drake Lindsey is 5 for 5 on the passes. Just 25 yards, really, that Nebraska defense. It's not that they've done a lot. It's just that they've been able to prevent anything downfield. They've forced Lindsey into those quick plays, those quick little checkdowns. So while he is 5 for 5 and his quarterback rating looks pretty good, it's only 142 for being perfect, which shows that nothing's open downfield.
Yeah, playing kind of like a system quarterback at the moment.
Gophers going with the I formation. Lindsey under center, fakes the handoff, rolling out to the right. He's going to go for a long shot into double coverage. Nothing going there. It was intended for Lanier, getting caught up. I think the throw is just a little bit too far to try and get a pass interference on that one as he ran into the defender. I like them going for something long, but I don't know if I like them going in to double coverage on cover one. So he did get held back and tackled a little bit there by the defender. That was Rex Guthrie in coverage.
Yeah, Tim, I mean, listen, it's a play you want to make, but Kendrick Lanier has two Nebraska defenders on him, and Lanier grabs onto him first. It's just not the right play. It's not the right play, and we've seen this from Drake Lindsey multiple times, but good coverage from Nebraska.
3rd and 8 for Lindsey. He'll drop back. He just needs a first down. Finds someone over the middle. It's Jalen Smith. Gets up to the 35-yard line, and that's exactly what you wanted. Comes out from the left, just right across the flat on a simple little flat route. And that's just what the Gophers need for a first down to keep their drive moving up to the 35.
Jalen Smith, great job by the young wide receiver.
Lindsey now out of the shotgun. He'll hand to Taylor, looking toward the outside, makes a move, gets wrapped up. Good tackle made there by Donovan Jones. So Minnesota, they've got the offense moving a little bit. You find the receiver for a nice little completion. I know it's nothing fancy, but it keeps yourself moving. You want to put some points on the board here. You want to keep putting this pressure on Nebraska. They've been able to move the ball inside the red zone. They just haven't been able to convert. So you want to just go up by a couple more points. Try and punch it into the end zone if possible now. 2:33 and counting. Lindsey out of the shotgun. The drop back to pass gets bull rushed, and he's going to get tackled and sacked for a loss of about 1. I think that was Darius Taylor who should have been on the blocking assignment. Excuse me, Fame Ejeboy.
Yeah, Fame
just left unchecked.
Yeah, Fame Ejeboy, he's moving a little bit to the left of Drake Lindsey, which just leaves an open rusher to just take him down. I mean, I see the play idea, but Lindsey, he needs to get the ball off of his hands a lot faster, and Fame Ejeboy needs to recognize blocking there, in all honesty. But it's about creating a rhythm. That's what it is. That's what this game is about for Drake Lindsey, getting into that rhythm, getting your guys into the game. Great job getting Jalen Smith into this game, a receiver who we talk about a lot and has so much talent.
Well, credit Trent Watson with the sack. It'll be 3rd and 9 for Minnesota. We have reached the 2-minute timeout, and we will await that 3rd down when we return here on Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside the bank as the Gophers are looking to try and put some points on the board, but what awaits them is a 3rd and 9. So far, some trends of the game. Darius Taylor finally getting back on track. 10 carries for 99 yards, including a 71-yard carry where he just got dragged down at the 1-yard line earlier in this quarter.
It's important for Minnesota to get a first down here. They need to convert because you do not want Nebraska getting another chance at a touchdown or to get points on the board when they receive the ball in the second half.
And something the Gophers really struggle at is those late final minute, especially of the first half, defensive possessions, letting whatever team it is just trample all over them. Drake Lindsey now with 3rd and 9. Out of the shotgun, 3 receivers left, 1 right. Darius Taylor in the backfield. He's going to drop back. He's pressured, steps up, hits Jalen Smith, avoids a tackle, trying to get to the outside to the first down, and he will. Beautiful play by the redshirt freshman from Mankato West. Up to the 46-yard line are the Gophers, and with a new set of downs.
Jalen Smith evades the tackle, gets open. Look at the way he weaves around. Jalen Smith, what a young player. What a guy, and dare I say it, Tim, I think he's a dog. He's one of those dogs of this Gopher team, and what a great job to get them this first down.
Empty backfield for Lindsey. 2 receivers to each side as now Taylor will go right next to him. They're going to fake the handoff, looking out right, and back left with a little screen pass is Taylor. Hurdles a man and gets just about 3, a very loud 3 yards. Important to note here, Minnesota just 1 timeout going forward as 1 minute 40 and counting on the clock. Lindsey will look to hurry up on the offense. 3 receivers right, 1 left. Taylor, the running back, to his left. Taking his time, redirecting the offense. He's taking a lot more time than I'd like him to. Now finally takes the snap, delivers a strike to Jamison Gears, but it's in and out of the hands. May have been deflected by Javen Wright. We'll see on the replay. I think he may have just dropped it.
Oh, then that's actually I really like these plays from Drake Lindsey, and I think he's growing into this game. And he's been finding his receivers. He's finding players like Gears that can make these plays. And it's important for Lindsey to keep this momentum up, especially with 3rd and 7 here. Again, need to convert.
Minute 16 left in the half. 3rd down and 7 for Minnesota. Same setup as the last play. Taylor now right to left. They'll hand it on 3rd and 7 toward the outside, and he gets swallowed up. Gosh, as a Minnesota fan, it's sometimes very, very frustrating watching the 3rd down play calling of Greg Harbaugh Jr. And it'll be 4th down with 1 minute 11 left. I think you gave him too much time.
Yeah, and that's a great tackle by Williams Nwaneri. I mean, he just reads it instantly, but that's just not the play you want to make. It's Tim, you got still just over a minute left in this game. You're 3rd and 7. You don't run the football. This is a play where you need to pass. You've had 27 passing yards on this drive. Lindsey's growing into this game. An interesting play call from the Gophers, and it's not what you want to see if you're a Gopher fan, and it gives Nebraska a chance to take a lead in this game.
Tom Weston's back on 4th and 10. Set to punt it away to Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Nebraska will look to threaten and try and score before halftime. Once again, Nebraska is set to receive the second half kickoff. As Weston's punt is away, almost blocked. Down toward the left side, Barney will take it, running backwards. Beautiful tackle made inside the 10-yard line at about the 5. Simon Seidel. Heck of a play by the redshirt freshman on the punt team.
Great play, but what is Barney Jr. doing there? I mean, if you're going to go back, you better be confident about the way you go back. That's unbelievable. But great defense by this punt return. Gophers off.
A crucial defensive stop is needed here for Minnesota as Nebraska is going to start at the 6-yard line. You have to keep them contained here.
And Nebraska still has two timeouts remaining as well.
A minute 2 left. Raiola Emmett Johnson running toward the outside. He's going to go long. Incredible defensive play made as they wanted the receiver out there, Hunter. Zaquan Bryan with the pass deflection. I know I've been on his case a little bit this season, but that's just a beautiful play. Decided not to turn around, just looking into the hands of Zariah Hunter. Set for that easy pass deflection.
Zaquan Bryan, how many times can we say his name? The redshirt sophomore yet again coming up with the big stop.
That saves a 35-yard gain by Nebraska. So Raiola will take the snap. He'll go with a quick slant pass to Hunter. Taken down by Zaquan Bryan just past the first down marker. It'll be at about the 17, 18-yard line. 51 seconds left on the clock as they reset the chains.
And Nebraska need as many first downs as they can get so they don't use these timeouts. I mean, 2 timeouts remaining with 44 seconds. Nebraska is making good progress here.
Raiola drops back, gets pressured. He's in the middle of the field. He'll dive forward past the 25. Just another broken play. A beautiful job by the Gopher pass rush just to get him uncomfortable. Has to decide to just leave as there's now 31 seconds remaining and a timeout by Nebraska. Be their second of the half. I believe it'll be a 30-second timeout. So Nebraska has just not been able to find anything after that first pass deflection by Zaquan Bryan. And how huge of a play is that? It's the first play of a drive. You're starting inside your own 10. You try a deep shot, and you try and give yourself a little bit of momentum to propel you down the field. And the redshirt sophomore says, no, sir. And now you're backed up. You got a little slant play, and you're just on the 25-yard line.
And that's, again, Zaquan Bryan. I don't know how many times I can say his name this half, but he's been phenomenal, Tim. He's stepped up to every challenge that's been directed his way. It is a great pass by Raiola, but an even better stop by Bryan. And, you know, Raiola, they're just unfortunate. 3 more yards, and he would have had a first down. It's just the brutality of this sport. But Raiola needs a big play here, especially with 1 timeout remaining.
So second down. Nebraska's kicker Kyle Cunlinen is 9 for 10 on field goals before today, as long as a 43-yarder. Raiola getting pressured, and he's going to get taken down by Anthony Smith. Down at the 11-yard line with 20 seconds and counting to go. I would assume the Cornhuskers would be set on letting this run down to halftime. One heck of a defensive possession by Minnesota.
And it's just too easy for these Gophers rushers. I mean, Gunnar Gutala does not do a good job of blocking Smith. Smith just turns around and Raiola runs straight into him. And this Gophers crowd, as you can hear, is energetic as they end this half. What a defensive stand by Minnesota.
And so going into halftime, it's Minnesota 7, Nebraska 6. Wow, what a job by the Gophers. You just love to see yourself go into halftime with a lead. Nebraska does once again get the ball at the start of the second half, but coming in, playing the number 25 ranked team in the country, a team that you are rivals with, have a lot of history with, lots of bad blood between these two teams. You got Emmett Johnson, who wanted to come here, doesn't get an offer. Malachi Coleman, the transfer from Nebraska on the Minnesota side. Man, just been one exciting first half. Full of a lot of defense. Very typical Big Ten first half. We will take a break for halftime, and we'll be back in a few minutes with the halftime show and then the second half. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium as we are amidst halftime here of this one. Minnesota 7, Nebraska 6. One notable thing that I wanted to note from the first half, Darius Taylor with his performance today has passed 2,000 career rushing yards, and he is the third fastest Gopher to do so. So congratulations to Darius Taylor.
Darius Taylor, I mean, he has single-handedly torn apart this Nebraska defense, and he's done it because of his ability to stay so agile, his ability to weave through defenders, and also this Gophers offensive line. They've stepped up their game. They've genuinely played a really good game, and they've fixed these interior problems that we've seen these past couple weeks, Tim. And it's a player like Taylor, this is a player that he grinds a team out. You know, he feels his way into a game, and tonight he's showing exactly why he has 2,000 yards and 96 yards so far in this game.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I'm just going to run through some stats from the first half. Scoring plays, Nebraska has 2 field goals. The Gopher defense has done a very good job of stopping them once they get inside the 15, inside the 10. Most notably due to the sack column, where Minnesota has 5 sacks to Nebraska's 1. Dylan Raiola for Nebraska, 8 for 12, 113 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Nebraska's leading rusher is Emmett Johnson in his homecoming. 9 attempts for 35 yards so far. Leading receiver for the Huskers is Quinn Clark with his 1 43-yard reception. Leader in receptions is Isaiah Hunter with 3 for 25 yards. For Minnesota, Drake Lindsey looking very efficient so far, 8 for 10, not doing anything too out of the ordinary for 52 passing yards. Darius Taylor having his huge day, 11 rushes for 96 yards, including a almost touchdown run of 71 yards before getting chased down. On the receiving end, Jalen Smith has 2 receptions for 24 yards. Malachi Coleman has 1 15-yard reception, but other than that, not too much there. So, looking ahead to the second half, Nebraska receiving the second half kickoff. What would you like to see, Ahmed?
So, I mean, there is a lot of hype around Nebraska's passing game. There's a lot of hype around their defensive passing, and they've shown it. Minnesota only able to muster about 52 yards in the passing game, but what I haven't seen is this offense really take that extra step this game. You've seen Raiola make some crazy plays with his left hand, making some crucial first down throws, but in the red zone, I mean, you're not seeing this team do that much damage. You're seeing a Gopher defense step up to the plate. I mean, 113 passing yards and 34 rushing yards. I mean, those rushing yards, you're looking at this game, you think Emmett Johnson's going to come in here, it's his homecoming, and he's going to make a statement. It's the opposite. Darius Taylor has come in here and said, hey, I was the guy. This is why Minnesota chose me. And so I want to see if Emmett Johnson can back his words in this game, because Emmett Johnson is no stranger. He is one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, and he's proven it. But nothing to show here today except for 35 rushing yards with only 9 carries. So you want to see more from Emmett Johnson to open up this game. And I want Raiola. I need Nebraska to make a stand in the red zone, because this Minnesota defense has really come to play. I mean, Devin Williams and number 4 on the Gophers, Zaquan Bryant, they have made such big plays, and the Gophers need to continue to do that. And the Gophers on offense, Drake Lindsey, I mean, 8 for 10 so far, an 80% completion rate, but he's just looked really passive. So it's really going to be a story of, can Minnesota keep doing what they're doing, but also grow into the game, and can Nebraska find a way to get through this Gophers defense in the red zone?
Yeah, looking on that defensive end, Zaquan Bryant has had himself one heck of a day. 7 total tackles, including 5 solo, and a beautiful pass breakup to stop Nebraska from doing anything on their final drive of the half. Anthony Smith and Carter Menz both have 2 sacks on the day, along with Devin Eastern adding another one. So just a good day out there for the defense. Love to see them continue that here as the Gophers are getting set to kick off this second half. Lead Brady Denneberg to kick it away to the Cornhuskers. Once again, a 1-point game here in Minneapolis. The Huskers will be having their offensive possessions toward the student section here again in the third quarter. You'd love to see them get involved a little more. Denneberg's kick is out the back of the end zone, as tends to be the case. And Nebraska will start their first drive of the half on the 25-yard line.
Dylan Royola so far in this game, 8 for 12, a 67% pass completion, playing great out of the pocket, making some great throws, but unable to get some touchdowns on the scoreboard here. So Dylan Royola needs to make a statement here. Emmett Johnson needs to make a statement, and this Nebraska offense needs to get rolling here.
Yeah, look for Nebraska to be targeting Lindemeyer a lot more, as Emmett Johnson's going to get the first down carry. It's Kerry Brown coming in inside. Not much going there on that run. It's going to be a gain of about 2 up to the 27.
And this Gopher defense is throwing a lot of coverages at Nebraska so far. I mean, you've seen a lot of zone, you've seen a lot of man, and they're really containing Nebraska very well here.
Nebraska with a little bit of a hurry-up offense here on 2nd and 7. Raiola back to pass, quick pass complete for about 5 yards up to the 32, 33-yard line. I believe that's going to be Hunter on the catch. And Isaiah Hunter really been their go-to guy here as of the early going the first half. Haven't really seen much out of Dane Key or Ja'Cory Barney, which has been really surprising to me, as all three of those guys have over 400 receiving yards on the season and multiple touchdowns. An early third down here, 3rd down and 2 for Nebraska. Rayola's going to can the play. He has 2 receivers to either side. Emmett Johnson, the back in the backfield to his left. He's going to drop back. Goes for the screen to Emmett Johnson. Finds some green grass to go. He's going to get a first down, avoiding some tackles up past the 40. Still on his feet and still going down to the 44-yard line. We have an injured Gopher on the field. We will check on who that is. This does not look good. Fear it's going to be a cornerback. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the Gophers, whoever is down right now. But Emmett Johnson, I mean, this is a very, very well-executed screenplay. Raiola facing pressure almost instantly, but Emmett Johnson, this is what we've expected him to do, weaving through and just pushing for those extra yards, really pressuring this defense, and that's really successful play, and that's a great 3rd down conversion, and that's what you want to see from Johnson.
Gopher player still down on the field as he got wedged and had a guy fall on top of him. Hopefully, probably looking at a leg injury on that one, as we will take a quick timeout here from Minneapolis. Here early in the 3rd quarter, Minnesota 7, Nebraska 6. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome in back inside Huntington Bank Stadium. An update on the injured Gopher. It was Jayonte McMillan. He's really been showing out the last couple of weeks. Something I'd like to note is the incredible sportsmanship out of Dylan Raiola coming over while he was down. Gosh, he got shoved down. I imagine the wind was knocked out of him. They'd be looking at a head injury on him as Coy Parrish tried to get to the outside to make the tackle, and McMillan was unfortunately the one who took the brunt of it as he'll go into the tent. Now Raiola, hand off to Emmett Johnson, looking toward the outside, finds some open space. And a good open field tackle made by Aiden Gausby. It's a first down, Nebraska. Beautiful play after contact by Emmett Johnson. You said you're going to look for him to try and attack here early in this second half, and there it is.
Yeah, and Emmett Johnson showing what he does best. But good job by Aiden Gausby to stop him there, because Emmett Johnson, once he gets rolling, he gets rolling.
Nebraska down to the 43 of Minnesota. Barney motioning from right to left. He'll look for him on the screen pass. Taken down in the backfield is the new Gopher. It's Jalen Bowden getting some playing time. The transfer from NC Central. Coming in, making a big play there early as Raiola saw who it was there on the outside and decided to test him right away.
Yeah, and Barney Jr. just motioning to the left side, trying to find a way to break down this Gopher defense.
Something else of note, John Nestor has not really been in at all today. He was questionable. Thought he was going to play. He warmed up, but did not. As Raiola is going to take the snap. He's going deep. He has a man down there. It's Dane Key, but he once again has overthrown him. Going right back again towards Bowden.
Dane Key, I mean, Dane Key runs a dang near perfect route there, and Dylan Raiola, he has the right look, has the right pocket presence there, and just unable to get that throw, just overthrows it. That's so unfortunate, and that would have set such a big tone for this game. Just unlucky by Raiola, unable to get that throw there.
Yeah, overshot him by about 3 yards, and it was a high arcing pass, and now it is 3rd and 9 for the Huskers. Barney from left to right. He's going to run on the route. Raiola in trouble, and he's going to get wrapped up. A trio of Gophers in there on the sack. Jackson Howard, Anthony Smith, and Joey Gerlach in there to bring down the Husker quarterback.
And again, that's what it is. It's the Gophers throwing pressure at Raiola. They blitz with 6 guys, and they don't let him move anywhere within this pocket. They know Raiola's ability to get out of the pocket, and they just don't let him do that. And this is great rushing defense by the Gophers to just swallow him up.
Here comes the punt. Something of note here, Quentin Redding is the punt returner for the Gophers. I haven't seen him return a punt in at least a couple years, as the punt is down inside the 5, and it takes a Nebraska bounce and is going to be down on the 2. It's a good play by the punt return team. Redding in there for the first time since last year after he had some fumbling issues, the 5th-year man out of Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. He tried to fake out the Husker punt return team, and they were having none of it. Minnesota will start their next drive on the 2-yard line when we return. 11:19 left in this 3rd quarter. Minnesota 7, Nebraska 6. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium as the Gophers are backed up way in their own territory at the 2-yard line.
That's one way to put it, Tim. That is one way to put it. I mean, not the ideal place you want to be. It is a great job by the punt-kicking unit of Nebraska to get them at this position.
Gophers to go with I formation, 2 receivers on the left, Lindsey under center. He's going to can the play, choose something else. It's crucial to get out of this end zone, not let the Nebraska defense get some momentum as they'll hand it to Taylor, who gets ahead. He's going to push back for 5 yards. Wow, what a run. He just hangs on somebody, hangs on his offensive lineman, turns around and just backpedals out forward for 5 yards. What a beautiful play by Darius Taylor. That takes him over 100 yards rushing.
And it's not even just that, Tim. It's the fact that these linemen are so aware of where he is on the field. Their ability to just push him in for just extra yards.
So we have an injured defensive player. Looks like someone just took a little bit of a hit. After just one play, now that you have a little bit of breathing room, you look to just establish the run back again. Nebraska couldn't really stop it in that first half. I know majority of that run total came on one play with the 71-yard run. But you just love to see ground and pound Big Ten football. I mean, so far, this game has really looked like a classic Big Ten West battle. Of course, the divisions don't exist anymore. 7-6 defensive slugfest. You love to see it.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that Nebraska can be positive about is their special teams unit. I mean, to put them in this position is really crucial.
Lindsey out of the shotgun, now changing the play now under center. They go back to the I formation on 2nd and 6. Taylor take the handoff, try and push ahead. Dog pile pushes about to the 9, so it'll be 3rd and short for Minnesota. Once again, going with that I formation, trying to establish that run. Don't hate the play calling. Don't love it either.
No, it's not a bad call from Fleck, but again, it's good defense by Nebraska to kind of contain Taylor, but I mean, this is where Lindsey needs to look for his receivers, either Smith or, Lemeke Brockington, who hasn't had a target tonight. They need to get him into this game. I mean, Lemeke Brockington, a huge player for the Gophers, and they need a big play out of him.
Empty backfield for Lindsey, 3 receivers right, 1 left. Now Taylor running across from right to left. Lindsey drops back. Quick throw, complete to Lemeke Brockington. An excellent prediction by my guy Ahmed. He's up ahead past the 20-yard line to the 21 for a Golden Gopher first down.
And Lemeke Brockington, we just talked about him. Quick route, stops, finds him perfectly. That is such great composure by Lindsey because he has a window of about 2 seconds to throw that, and he does it perfectly. And that's what you need out of this Gopher side, which we haven't seen much of, these 3rd down conversions. But tonight, doing such a good job at that.
Crucial conversion for the Gophers on their first drive of the half. They go back to the I formation, 2 receivers left. Lindsey changing the play as they're going to get Minnesota for a false start. I think you could call it on either Nathan Roy or 65. So that's not what you like to see. They're going to call it on Greg Johnson, the 5th-year man out of Prior Lake. Excuse me, 3rd-year man out of Prior Lake.
Yeah, and he just fidgets there just a little bit, fidgets before it snaps. I mean, and it's a shame to see, and VJ Fleck, he's probably fuming down there seeing that.
Greg Harbaugh Jr., the offensive coordinator, will have to draw up something different. Maybe go with a little bit more of a pass play here on 1st and 15. You open the field up a little bit more. Lindsey in out of the shotgun. Taylor to his left. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Lindsey canning the play yet again. Really just doesn't like what he's been seeing all day. Snap back, handoff to Taylor. Barges ahead to about the 20. It'll be about a 4-yard gain. 2nd and 11 upcoming.
And yet Lindsey, he just sees something he doesn't like, but it's good game management. It's what you want to see from your QB, and Darius Taylor just able to get in for some yards here. But the Gophers, I want to see them establish this pass game just a little more. Obviously, the run game is working, but to get players like Brockington, Javon Tracy, and Smith involved, even Jamison Gears, these are all talented receivers and tight end.
Empty backfield again for Lindsey. Darius Taylor now in the backfield. Lindsey complete over the middle. Jamison Gears up toward the first down marker, and he's going to get there. A beautiful completion from Drake Lindsey to Jamison Gears, a connection that's been growing every single week, and that's another Golden Gopher first down. You love to see the composure out of Drake Lindsey. You love to see him just sit back there, sit in the pocket, make a beautiful pass over the middle. First read was there, fit it right between three guys. Nothing too overcomplicated.
And again, it's that zone defense by Nebraska, which allows Gears to find that space in the middle. He has nobody guarding him, and he pushes.
Lindsey now empty backfield, two receivers to either side. Malachi Coleman coming in. Lindsey drops back, has a man over the middle. It's Darius Taylor. Lined up as a receiver, running across the flat up to the 39-yard line. It's going to be second down and 2. Now you can open the playbook up a little bit more. Try and get another good passing play. Establishing both sides of the ball. That's something that's been key, in my opinion, for the Gophers to be able to do. I thought they'd be able to pass very well, which they've been most of the season. But now you've established the run game, established the pass game. Keep them guessing. Fame Ijiboy now the running back in. They'll go back to I formation. Biber, the tight end, with Ijiboy behind. Lindsey hands off to Ijiboy, finds some green grass, up past the 50. Good second down run for the first down for Fame Ijiboy. And I believe I misspoke. That's up to the 46-yard line, not the 49-yard line.
Again, it's positive from the Gophers, though. I mean, first you get Darius Taylor, who's such a dual threat with his receiving. You get yourself close at 2 yard, and then Ijiboy just is his ability to drive through the middle of this field is just so talented, and it gives the Gophers more time in this drive.
Ijiboy stays in. Lindsey out of the shotgun again. Three receivers right, one left. Motioning Tracy out. They're going to try a quick screen pass. Avoids the first tackle. Still up and running. Gets about 5 yards on a play that could have gone for a loss. Well done by Javon Tracy.
Well read by Nebraska, but well done by Tracy to just get those extra yards. And we talk about that so much. And it's great blocking by the tight end, Drew Biber. He gives Tracy just enough to get at least somewhat of a gain on there.
Yeah, the fifth-year man out of Cedarburg, Wisconsin's done so well this year. Really getting an opportunity to play after Nick Collerup graduated and moved on to the Seattle Seahawks. Lindsey now takes the snap. He's going to hand to Ijiboy. He's going to get up, break a tackle, and still goes past the first down yard line. Up to the 41, a beautiful run by Fame Ijiboy, who's now said, all right, I see you, Emmett Johnson. I see you breaking these tackles. I guess I'll do it.
And that's two back-to-back first down conversions by Ijiboy. And it's the same play design. He's getting these blockers, and this Gopher offensive line is creating the space for Ijiboy to exploit it.
Lindsey empty backfield, two receivers to either side. First down and 10 as Ijiboy will run from right to left. Lindsey drops back over the middle, has Logan Loya complete for 8-yard gain. Maybe 7 to the 34 for the UCLA transfer. His first target today is a productive one, and the Minnesota offense is moving.
And where this Gophers offense is finding success is through the middle at the moment.
Gophers look to go hurry up. Ijiboy still in. Lindsey will take the snap, as I believe we have a Nebraska timeout. They were not ready for it, and they'll take their first timeout of the half with 4:24 remaining in the third quarter. Minnesota's driving. We'll take a quick break and be back. It'll be second down and 3 from the 34 of Nebraska when we return. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium. Ahmed, what have you been noticing on this drive?
Honestly, Tim, I've noticed the pass game. This Nebraska passing defense is #1 in the country. Yet the Gophers have garnered 43 yards on this drive alone. Drake Lindsey has been demanding, or not demanding, but he's been controlling this offense and staying composed. And you're seeing these plays through the middle. And they're really exploiting this Nebraska man coverage and this zone defense by these passes in the middle, and they're able to gain extra yards through it.
Lindsey under center. Ejeboy the back. They'll hand it to him on 2nd and 3. Trying to bounce to the outside. Still going. Oh, my goodness. He's still up on his feet, but just gets about a yard. One heck of an effort by Fame Ejeboy, even if not much came of it, and it's going to be 3rd down and short. And one thing that I think what you're pointing out here is just Nebraska's pass defense. They're #1 by yards allowed, and there's a reason for that. The things they give up are these short little passes where you can get 5, 6, 7 yards, just be able to convert first downs if you can just keep them up consistently, but you're not going to be able to garner a humongous total as Drake Lindsey's just at 95 yards. But whatever works on this drive, as long as you're getting first downs.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Gophers do go with the screen here and they give it to Taylor, which we've seen a lot of.
3rd down and 3. Lindsey out of the shotgun. Taylor to his right. He's going to drop back and pass. Quick pass. Incomplete as he was intended for Lemeki Brockington. I think he should have gotten that ball out a little bit earlier as Brockington was just waiting there like a sitting duck a little bit. The defender was able to just get up right behind him. That was Sayar Wright, the defensive back transfer from USC, getting in on that play.
Sayar Wright. I mean, that's just such great defense by Sayar Wright. And it looks like the Gophers are actually going to go for this, Tim.
No reason not to. You're in Nebraska territory. 3rd and 3. We'll see what they do. Lindsey under center, rolling out. Wants the long ball. Not going to get it, but there's a flag. That's going to go against Nebraska. Pass interference and a 1st down for the Golden Gophers. That's why you go for it on 4th down.
This is true.
They're going to get him for a holding. My apologies either way. Automatic 1st down. It's a 5-yard penalty. And the Golden Gopher drive continues. It's a beautifully done by the offense and by Drake Lindsey, just getting back up to the line and hurrying up.
And he's just grabbing onto him. And I mean, like, that is not good defense by number 37, Donovan Jones. If you're Nebraska, you've just given Minnesota a get-out-of-jail-free card there when you've defended this drive so well here in this position. Just unfortunate. And if you're Nebraska, that's just not what you want to see from this defense at all.
So Minnesota set up for 1st down on the 24. Lindsey will hand off to Ejeboy. Powering ahead down to the 20. It'll be a 4-yard gain. 2nd and 6 upcoming as the Gophers enter the red zone.
And the Gophers taking their time on this, just a little under 8 minutes on this drive so far, and they've made a lot of progress. Starting back at the 1-yard line, 78 yards so far. On the 2-yard line, excuse me, and they've gone 78 yards down the field so far.
Lindsey will look to punch it in for the Gophers. 2 receivers left, 1 right. Lindsey barking out orders to his receivers. Taylor the back end to his right. Brockington off to the right. And he'll go for him, wants the fade route. Caught by Lemeki Brockington. What a catch! Touchdown, Minnesota!
And, oh my God, Drake Lindsey, he's controlled this drive. He's controlled this Gopher offense. And he says to Brockington, you want to play man on him? Then I'm going to give you the football. Brockington right over again, and it's right over Donovan Jones, and he makes the play. This is great football from this Gopher offense, and it's great from Drake Lindsey. And Lemeki Brockington gives the Gophers the lead in this. It maintains the lead, should I say.
Gophers have really been looking for someone to step up into that wide receiver 1 role, and I think Lemeki Brockington is making himself a good case as Denneberg's extra point is up and good. Minnesota is now up 14-6 on the 25th ranked Cornhuskers as Lemeki Brockington making just a beautiful catch. What a ball from Drake Lindsey, too, as he finally gets something to go into the end zone in the passing game, now up past 115 yards and a touchdown, 14 for 17, as he's just surgical on this drive.
And yeah, and this is a great drive by the Gophers. Just under 9 minutes, 98 yards down the field in 14 plays, 63 passing yards and 30 rushing yards. Fame Ijaboy, Lemeki Brockington, Biber, Gears, all these players making the big plays, getting them down the field, and this is what you want to see. If you're PJ Fleck, if you're this Gopher offense, this is how you play football, and this is how you get the lead against the Nebraska defense, who's very good.
Once again, to sum up, it's a 20-yard reception by Lemeki Brockington to cap off a 98-yard, 14-play drive that took 8:43 off the clock. Now 2:36 left in this third quarter, and Nebraska will get the ball back when we return. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Minnesota 14, Nebraska 6. Welcome back here in Minneapolis as Minnesota strikes first here in the second half, up 14-6. Their surgical, almost 9-minute drive taking up a majority of this quarter. Ahmed, what have you been seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing Minnesota take their time. Drake Lindsey grew into this game. He commanded his offense, and you could see the passion that was drilling from him. He was looking like a top quarterback in the Big Ten. And if you're PJ Fleck, if you're these Gopher fans, that's what you want to see. And I saw a lackluster Nebraska defense that was worn down.
Denneberg set to kick off. His first of the game, that's going to be returnable. The return man's going to get wrapped up inside the 20. That was number 32. Trent Olher not getting anywhere. Even Kenneth Williams, actually, the third-string running back. So Nebraska will begin their next drive inside the 20 as Raiola looks to really just show out. It's been a very lackluster day for him, a man who has 16 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions on the year. Almost 1,600 passing yards coming in. Just 131 yards and 11 for 16 on the pass. He'll look to pass on first down. Nothing there. He's going to escape off to the right and out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Broken play there from the Huskers as he was trying to look at the slant play. Beautifully played by Kerry Brown.
And Raiola, he's able to make those plays on his feet, but the story of the game so far for him is he's been sacked 6 times. His offensive line hasn't been there for him, and they haven't given him the time he needs to scramble, to have his pocket presence, because when he's had that pocket presence, he's been able to make plays or at least get the ball in the right position. So his offensive line needs to do better here, and Emmett Johnson needs to find a way to grow into this game a lot faster.
Emmett Johnson out for this play. It'll be Isaiah Muzi Running back in as Raiola is now under pressure again. Tries to escape, and he's going to get taken down. That's Rashawn Lawrence with the sack. Beautifully done by the Gopher defense once again. Raiola just nowhere to go.
And again, all the players are covered. This man coverage that Minnesota has played, their zone coverage as well, is working for them. Raiola has nobody to find, and he's also getting rushed by almost 4 Minnesota defenders. And it's just not working for him as, again, he's forced early into a 3rd down, 3rd and 5 situation.
Won't be credited as a sack as it was a no-gain play, but it is 3rd down and 5 for Nebraska. Raiola dropping back. Bull rush, Matt Kingsbury. Down goes Raiola.
And again, this Minnesota defense knows that they can get to Raiola. And again, they blitz him. They send almost 5 defenders his way, and they get the sack. His 7th sack of the game, and now you're forced to kick the ball again. It's just this Nebraska offensive line has been terrible.
Redshirt sophomore Matt Kingsbury with a huge play as he gets past the running back. A low punt as Coy Parrish is going to back away. It's going to take a Nebraska bounce down to about the 38 of Minnesota as they look to tack onto their lead. 21 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. Minnesota up by 8. They'll get the ball back.
And this Minnesota defense has just made such statements today. This Minnesota defensive line, their rushers have just absolutely bothered Dylan Raiola today. Dylan Raiola, before the game, we spoke about how he hasn't been good when facing pressure. He's been terrible today when facing pressure, and it's shown. And now Minnesota have the ball back with still 21 seconds to go.
Lindsey back on offense, looking to add on to the Gopher lead. He'll drop back to pass, doesn't see his initial read, still working in the pocket, finds his check down. Darius Taylor with a nice catch. Be forward for about 4 yards up to the 41.
When in doubt, Darius Taylor is there. Whether it's receiving, whether it's passing, Darius Taylor is his guy, and Darius Taylor already in this game has 16 receiving yards.
With that play, that'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Just 1 quarter of football, 15 minutes separates a winner in this Friday Night Lights bout between number 25 Nebraska and Minnesota. Minnesota 14, Nebraska 6. We'll be back with 4th quarter action here from Huntington Bank Stadium. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back here inside Huntington Bank as we get ready for the fourth quarter. Ahmed, some trends you've been noticing with this Nebraska offense, who's only scored 6 points today, and off a team that averages 45 points a game. What's been going on?
Minnesota's been able to do what, quite frankly, Nebraska hasn't. Dylan Raiola taking 7 sacks for a loss of 47 yards. And their third down conversions, they've only had 2 third down conversions out of their 9 attempts, while Minnesota has converted 4 times on third downs, which is it's extended plays. That's what this is all about right now. It's about extending plays, and Nebraska's been unable to extend their plays. And in this second half, Minnesota's ability to extend their play on the under 9-minute drive was what got them that touchdown, what's kept them in this play. And they need to keep extending these drives. That's what's going to keep them in this game. And I'm looking for Drake Lindsey to keep growing confident in his passing game, especially if they're going to trust their defenders.
I formation again for the Gophers. It'll be Fame Ejiboy on the handoff. On 2nd and 7, he'll get up just about to the 45-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 3 for the Gophers. You'd look to see a good conversion here, maybe a chip away at the time like last drive.
Yeah, and Tim, I wouldn't be surprised if they're bringing in Jalen Smith back into this. I wouldn't be surprised if they look for Smith on a little bit of a slant route again. That's what's been working. And Nebraska's defense needs to see that. They need to cover that well. Or they might go for a screen pass here. Minnesota's offense has really been shining in this, and they've been versatile here in the second half.
Lindsey out of the shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to the right. Taylor in the backfield. Motion Jalen Smith. Nebraska bringing pressure. Lindsey out of the pocket, tries a throw, and it's intercepted, but it's going to be a pass interference as the intended target was Javon Tracy, who gets shoved to the ground. I believe it was number 8, Jashawn Singleton, if I'm not mistaken, but that'll be a Golden Gopher first down for sure.
Yeah, and Singleton's just pushing him. He's pushing him in there.
See who they assess the penalty on. Looked like there were multiple as Jalen Smith as well hit the ground.
Yeah, and Javon Tracy is just, that's not a good throw by Lindsey. That doesn't require you to push him there. And Javon Tracy, he's just getting pushed by number 27 on Nebraska.
That's 37, Donovan Jones.
Donovan Jones again. That's his 3rd pass interference of this game. You don't need to do that, Jones. And now the Gophers get another get-out-of-jail card.
Lindsey under center. He'll hand out Darius Taylor back into the game, pushing his way forward for 4 yards up to the 36. And, yeah, I know you don't like the throw by Lindsey, but I like it because if you throw it, something can happen. Whether it's a good play by Javon Tracy, you just trust your guy out there, or a pass interference. And Donovan Jones, a man who's been burned a couple times for good catches. Lemeke Brockington got that touchdown over him. And just other opportunities, other flags that have been called on him. I think you may as well just go after him. Not having a good day. Lindsey once again under center. Taylor the back. He'll fake it to him. Lemeke Brockington running toward the outside. It's not there. Lindsey over the middle. Catch almost made by Jalen Smith. Bobbled it. Wasn't quite there.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good play. It is a good play, and Drake Lindsey's fortunate that wasn't picked off. He's fortunate, but it's the right play to make. I mean, Jalen Smith running in there, has an open look. He just bobbles it up. It's a little too high. Just throwing too high for Smith to grab on, but that's the right play. That's the right route. And again, it's a 3rd down conversion here.
3rd and 6 for the Gophers here at the beginning of the 4th quarter. This is a crucial one in Nebraska's part of the field. Lindsey will take the snap out of the backfield, getting rushed. They're going to go with the screen to Jalen Smith, who finds some open space. 20, 10, and he's going to get chased down inside the 10, down to the 1. Jalen Smith coming up huge.
And there's that screen play again. When Minnesota execute the screen well, when Lindsey's throwing it straight at his man, these Minnesota receivers have shown they can run past this contact. It's so well done by Smith there. Smith evades the first tackle, and it's great blocking. He just slows down their trips, which allows the Nebraska number 0 defender, Javon Wright, to catch up with him. But that is exactly what you want to see. Jalen Smith growing into this game. Wonderfully done by Smith, and it's a great play design.
After the 34-yard connection, the Gophers inside the 5. Drake Lindsay will take the first snap. Darius Taylor to the outside and to the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota.
And Darius Taylor. And he gets his touchdown after that 71-yard play back in the first half. And oh my goodness, it's just Darius. And he bows down to the Gopher crowd, the Gopher student section. He just says, take a seat, Nebraska. It's well done by this Gopher offense yet again.
In a season defined by injuries and just tumultuous games for Darius Taylor, as Denneberg's extra point is up and through. Today is just a beautiful example of don't poke the bear. Do not poke the bear. Emmett Johnson comes in, talks about how he's the guy. He wanted to be the guy here at Minnesota. He's been looking forward to this game, still wants to get some revenge on Minnesota, and Darius Taylor says, no, this is my house. 16 carries for 112 yards, now finally punching it into the end zone, doing a lot with the receiving game as well. 4 receptions for 16 yards, but man, has he just been huge for the Gophers here today.
And again, Drake Lindsay, he does so well here on this drive. Under 2 minutes, 4 plays, 40 yards, and the Gophers are in for now 21-6 for this big of a lead. And again, it's the passing game. 35 yards passing, and they've only rushed for 5 yards. This Gopher offense is rolling, and they're being versatile, and you're seeing it. Darius Taylor, it takes a bow, and that's what he's done this whole game. He's taken a bow to these defenders, and he's just rammed through them, and he's played his game.
So as we have yet another TV timeout, I think just one thing I want to know here, Nebraska's offense in the second half is 21 yards of total offense. Just a humongous credit to this Minnesota defense, who now up 21-6 is going to look more into those zone defenses, those prevent defenses, preventing the humongous play, especially with a quarterback like Raiola. But it's just going to be about, can the Gopher defense keep up what they've been doing all game? This Nebraska team, they average 45 points a game, and I know they've not been playing the most premier competition of all time, kind of stat padding against their 2 FCS opponents, but for a team that's ranked number 25 coming in averaging 45 points a game, I think having them with 6 points in the fourth quarter is one heck of a statement by your defense, especially a defense who's been banged up. You're missing your main guy, John Nestor. You have a guy go down in McMillan, so you're missing 2 cornerbacks, and yet Nebraska has not really been able to get rolling.
Yeah, and we talked about this. Nebraska team that historically hasn't been good in away back-to-back away games. They historically haven't been able to get the job done, and it's showing in the third quarter and in this fourth quarter. Out of the 6 attempts that they've had to convert on third downs, they've only converted once, Tim, and they haven't been able to gather a good drive at all in this third down. They haven't even gotten to the Gopher red zone in this second half at all, and it's just, if you're Nebraska, you need to make the stand now. With under 13 minutes remaining, they need to gather some positive drives. Dylan Raiola needs to get his receivers into this game. I mean, when you have Lindenmeyer, when you have Clark, when you have Barney Jr., when you have these great receivers, you need to find a way to get them into this game. And this Minnesota offense has just been rolling.
Denneberg set to kick off. Back to Nebraska. He's going to kick it out of the back of the end zone, and Nebraska will start their drive fresh at the 25 as they'll look to get something going. Now, something that's huge here to note is you have a quarterback like Raiola. He has experience while he's down at Nebraska. Not been the most premier in record, at least. Their defense has not been the most premier either, so he's had plenty of opportunities being down, being in hostile territory. So you wonder what he can do here. We've seen some incredible plays out of him today. Does he have the composure to bring them back?
And he's a great QB. He is. He just needs to get his team back into this.
Raiola out of the shotgun. Emmett Johnson, his running back. He'll hand it to him. Emmett Johnson breaking to the outside, tripped up in the backfield by Maverick Baranowski. A heck of a play by him, and it'll be a gain of 4 for the Cornhuskers up to the 29.
And Maverick Baranowski, he's a player that PJ Fleck has so much love for and so much trust in, describing him as, again, and I repeat it, the most selfless player on his team, and it shows in the way that he plays.
Raiola once again out of the shotgun. Lindemeyer, the tight end, from left to right. 3 receivers right, 1 left. Raiola takes the snap, wants to pass, rolling out to his right, has an option. He'll go to Emmett Johnson, who's going to get taken down, wedged between Kerry Brown and Maverick Baranowski. Tackled in bounds. 3rd down and short for the Cornhuskers.
And Dylan Raiola missed. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. was wide open near the 40-yard line, untouched, and that's the pass Raiola needs to make.
I think Aiden Gausme may have been playing in zone coverage on that one, so he didn't trust it. 3rd down and 3 for Nebraska. Raiola back to pass. Short pass to Emmett Johnson. He'll get the 1st down. Just a simple play by the Cornhuskers to get the offense rolling and move the chains. Something that's been very hard to come by in this second half.
And that's positive. And that's what you need to do now. You need to be almost perfect from this point on if you're Nebraska. You need to find a way to get points on the board.
I would assume they'd go pass heavy here, even though they have plenty of time, as Raiola's going to back. He wants to go deep, and it's caught. Oh, no, it's dropped by Hunter. Had him wide open right in the hands, and it's dropped. Oh, what a mistake.
If you're Nebraska, there is no better play you could ask for. Hunter is wide open. He beats Kerry Brown, and he drops it at the last minute. That is a play you can't – I think Hunter wishes he could take back. That is so unfortunate for this Husky side.
It was right on the chest. A perfect throw by Dylan Raiola. Just can't get hauled in by Isaiah Hunter with Zaquan Bryan in coverage. They're going to go with the run game here. It's the backup running back in. Mosey not anywhere to go as he moseys around. And Jayonte McMillan, who's back in the game after his injury earlier, with the tackle, and it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 7 for Nebraska.
And I see something interesting. Dylan Raiola attempting to block for him there, and you want to see that out of your QB, but they need to convert here on this 3rd down. Dylan Raiola needs to they need a big play here. The Gopher crowd just getting into it.
Crucial 3rd down for Nebraska. 3 for 10 on 3rd down. Raiola back to pass and is sacked. Jackson Howard and Anthony Smith get to Raiola yet again. The 8th sack for the Gopher defense is a huge one, and Nebraska is going to have to punt. You'd assume it would have perhaps been a decision if they had been able to get close to the 1st down, but not when you go backwards.
And again, they rushed with almost 6 to 7 defenders there, and they put him under pressure. Dylan Raiola under pressure has been unable to make a play. He's been sacked 8 times. Again, this is working for them.
The punt to Coy Parrish. He'll take the fair catch at the 26 as Minnesota is in prime position to eat some clock with Darius Taylor and Femi Jaboy.
Yeah, and this game is slipping from Nebraska, Tim. It's slipping from them. Hunter needs to catch that football. The moment Hunter drops that football is the moment you kind of lose that momentum, and it's just unfortunate to see. But this Gopher rush, oh my goodness, they have eaten up Dylan Raiola. They have completely eaten him up.
And how big was the loss in the first half to targeting of Elijah Pritchett, one of their more experienced linemen? The entire offensive line has had a difficult time all year protecting Dylan Raiola. He's been on the turf way too much, and that's just really what's been hurting them this entire game. You get a crucial 3rd down, and that's the 5th Gopher sack on 3rd down in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, Anthony Smith, who's averaging 4.5 sacks a game, he has had himself in this season, he's had himself a whole day, and he's had himself a field day, and this Gophers defense has just really stood up to the challenge.
Well, we'll take a quick break before the Gophers head back on offense. 9:37 left in this contest here in Minneapolis. Minnesota up 21-6 over the number 25 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium, as the real theme of the day has been the sack for the Gopher defense.
Dylan Raiola this season, Tim, has been sacked 16 times this season. Tonight, 8 times. 8 times, 24 sacks, and 8 of them coming tonight. His offensive line has been abysmal, yet he's still made plays, and his receivers have been unable to really capitalize on those plays. And now the Gopher offense, Drake Lindsay has now more time to take time off the clock.
Lindsay will hand off to Darius Taylor, who breaks outside, has plenty of space to run. He's going to get a first down all the way down to the 43-yard line. A beautiful first down play by Darius Taylor. Why not just let the man eat?
And Darius Taylor just pushes Justin Rhett to the ground. Stiff arms him completely. He's chasing after him. Darius Taylor, he's been such a huge part of this team, and it's a first down this early. And this Huskies defense, they have really been exposed. Their run defense was already not that good, but they've been completely exposed tonight by Fame Ajiboye and Darius Taylor.
And it's not even that they've been overwhelmed yards-wise on the stat sheet. It's just that overwhelming sense of we can't really bring him down when we need to. Yet another play to Darius Taylor. He'll break outside. There was a flag before the snap. You would assume it'd be something for an illegal shift on the offense. I think that'll back up the Gophers 5 yards as they look to just keep chipping away at this clock. It's going to be a defensive offside. I was wrong. A bit of a free play wasted by Drake Lindsay. If you had seen the offside, perhaps an opportunity to take a shot, but it was a run play. Not really anything there either way. Gophers will take it 1st and 5 now from the 46-yard line, they'll mark it.
Yeah, and Tim, this Gophers defense tonight, or not this Gophers offense tonight, they've been so versatile. 153 passing yards against the top passing defense in the Big Ten, in the country, and 156 rushing yards. They've thrown everything.
Lindsay once again hands to Taylor. Big hole for Taylor. Charging ahead to the first down marker up to the 49. Just keep the chains moving, keep eating some clock as there's just above 8 minutes left to go in this one.
And the way this Gophers offensive line has been moving, they've been creating so many holes for Darius Taylor to attack, and he's taking advantage of it, and it gives him now a chance to just fight for more yards and take time off the clock.
Darius Taylor at 18 carries for 132 yards, just a huge story today. The junior getting back on track to his former self. Lindsay now under center. 1st and 10. pitch outside to Darius Taylor. He'll go toward the outside. A little bit of green grass to run in. Gets up to the 40 and another first down for the Golden Gophers. Gets tackled inbounds, so the clock will keep moving, but there's a flag on the play. We'll check on that. Hopefully it's not an offensive holding, as what I fear to be true may be true. They're going to call it face mask on the defense. Didn't personally see it myself. May have been on the tackle on Darius Taylor. It'll be on number 95, Deshaun Singleton.
Yeah, and Matt Rule on the sideline, he looks so out. He just seems over it at this point. And Darius Taylor getting to the outside, and he's face masked. It's just, this is Nebraska defense. It's just penalties have cost them so much this game, Tim. I mean, they've given up 6 penalties for a loss of 65 yards this game.
The Gophers have been playing very clean, just 3 penalties for 30 yards on that side. As they look to just put the nail in the coffin here. Just over 7 minutes to go. Once again, I formation for the Gophers. Lindsey under center. He'll take the ball. Hands to Fame Ijaboy, who cuts up the middle. Still dragging defenders with him down to the 10-yard line. Fame Ijaboy
And
getting in on the party.
It's those extra yards, Tim. I mean, the way these Minnesota running backs fight for these extra yards is unbelievable. I mean, he's dead to rights there. He has the first down. He pushes for almost 5 extra yards.
Just dragged Kair Wright and Deshaun Singleton down for at least another 5 yards.
It's unbelievable. And Fame Ijaboy, it's unbelievable what he's doing at 210 pounds.
First and goal on the 9 for Minnesota. As the overrated chants come from the student section, it'll be first down for Fame Ijaboy. Gets swallowed up in the backfield. It's a good play there by Javen Wright. Be a loss of 5 yards on the play. As the Gophers honestly just looking to take time off the clock at this point.
Yeah, it's a great read by Javen Wright, and it's a call you expected. Minnesota's run game has been elite, really elite on this drive. They haven't passed at all. They had 40 yards rushing so far.
Gophers once again taking their sweet time on this. So they'll let the play clocks go as far as they go. 5 seconds left. Lindsey under center. Darius Taylor in the backfield. Logan Loya going from right to left. Be a handoff to Darius Taylor. Not much there. Up to the 13. Just a gain of 1. It'll be third down and goal from the 13 for Minnesota upcoming. Nebraska will call timeout as they try and salvage what could be a chance here. As if you hold Minnesota to a field goal, it is still a 3-possession game, just an 18-point game. See if they can try and come back from this with just 5 minutes left. Man, just an overwhelming sense of the Gopher defense. The Gopher defense is just not what I had being the catalyst in this one. And if it was, I would have expected it to be on the turnover battle. No turnovers today, which has been, in my opinion, the biggest surprise of the day. Nebraska not, of course, known for forcing turnovers, but the Minnesota defense has been very active, especially in the interception column. They've just been able to beat them outright.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not only that, it's the fact that Drake Lindsey has gone 16 for 20 tonight. He's completed 80% of his passes, and we said he was being passive, but he's made the right plays over and over again, and he's gotten a huge performance from Jalen Smith and Lemeki Brockington. 2 huge performances, and Jalen Smith, three receptions for 59 yards, and Lemeki Brockington 2 receptions for 32 yards. And when you put these on top of the run game by Ijaboy and Darius Taylor, it's really been working for them.
Drake Lindsey now to the shotgun for the first time on 3rd and goal from the 13. He'll just hand to Taylor. Not much there. So the Gophers will have to settle for a field goal attempt by Brady Denneberg, his first of the day.
And I mean, as Nebraska takes a timeout here, I think Lindsay, you have to go for the end zone there. I think he needs to at least take a shot towards the end zone. It's not a bad play to get into field goal position. I mean, they're leading this game by a lot, but it's, again, I mean, the Gophers are going to come out of this with the score as long as they get the field goal.
Yeah, in my opinion, you just don't take the risk at this point. You're up by 15. There's no point in trying to go for something in the end zone and get picked off. Even worst case scenario, have a pick six, and now it's a one-possession game. You just take the field goal at that point, go up by 18. That's what the Gophers will look to do. It'll be Brady Denneberg in for a 30-yard attempt to look to try and put some icing on the cake here with 5:17 remaining. Snap, hold, and the kick is up and true. Brady Denneberg adds on to the Gopher lead, 24-6 over the number 25 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Once again, just what a performance by the offense, just doing exactly what they need to do. Just take some time off the clock. You take about 4.5 minutes off the clock. Just try and make it look hopeless for Nebraska as they're going to be clawing, trying desperate things here in the late going of this game. We'll see what happens. We'll take a quick break, but when we return, Nebraska ball down by 18. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium, where I'd say about 75% of the student section is still here with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I used to dream of days like this, where the Gophers get to play a ranked opponent and they get to put a beat down to them, pending the next 5 minutes and 14 seconds, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Nebraska needs a miracle here. I mean, they've
Multiple.
I mean, we are in Minneapolis, so it is possible. It is possible, but yeah, this Gophers defense has just caused terror for Dylan Raiola this game.
Denneberg's kick is up. It's going to be out the back of the end zone once again. Nebraska will look to try and get something rolling. So there might be a little desperation coming from Dylan Raiola. This is where you like to see where he's going to go, what he's going to do. I know he's a sophomore, but this is where the NFL scouts are going to look. When you're down how can you build your team? How can you try and claw back? How can you try and do something positive? It's a day where he hasn't had any touchdown passes, but he also hasn't thrown any interceptions or really made any throws that have been bad enough to be picked off.
Yeah, and Dylan Royal it's unfortunate for him today. His receivers are just dropping passes.
Raiola back to pass. Pressure again. He'll hit the check down. Emmett Johnson breaking a couple tackles, now finally brought down by Rashawn Lawrence at about the first down yard line. It'll be at the 35. First down Nebraska. Finally something going for him.
And Emmett Johnson not having the homecoming he quite had pictured. I mean, he had this date marked on his calendar, and he just hasn't had much to do tonight.
Raiola back to pass once again. He'll look left. Fires a quick pass to Lindenmeyer toward the outside. He'll get out of bounds at the 44. Second down and 1 as Goldie's going to do his push-ups for 24.
Yeah,
Nebraska's moving.
And that's positive. It's positive from Nebraska. But they need to get down to this field quickly. At least have something. At least get a touchdown before the 2-minute mark, while they still have their 3 timeouts, or they don't have any timeouts.
They used him on that last drive by the Gophers as he'll fire a quick pass into Hunter. And Isaiah Hunter up to the 46, a decent chunk of change there, as Maverick Baranowski is now down for the Gophers. Man, you can see him had a lot of problems in the last game against Purdue. It was 3 times where they had injury timeouts for him. My hope is just cramps again as his legs are moving a little bit this time. Man, what a season he's been having, though.
Yeah, he's Maverick Baranowski. I mean, he's been such a top player for this Gopher defense. He's been such a leader for them, and it shows. It shows by the plays he makes. It shows by the passion and by the way his teammates, and his coaches speak about him. And he's not a player you want to see go down. He's a very important part of this Gopher team, as PJ Fleck is knelt down beside him, as he has with almost every other player on his team.
And looking at some defensive stats, I think that's where I really want to focus on here, is just the amount of impact that so many defensive players have had on this game today. Zaquan Bryan, one heck of a day for him. 8 total tackles, 5 solo, and a pass breakup and a QB hit. Maverick Baranowski himself, 6 tackles, 3 solo, and a tackle for loss. And then we look at the trio of guys that have had 2 sacks each. Carter Menz, Anthony Smith, and Jackson Howard have all been huge for this Gopher defense.
Yeah, and I mean, Nebraska, they need to find a way to get onto the scoreboard before the 2-minute mark. They need to take advantage of this, especially with no timeouts at the moment.
Raiola in the shotgun. Ja'Cory Barney outside. They'll hand it off to Emmett Johnson, who bounces off a tackle off to the outside. Past the 40, finally taken down by Carter Menz at the 36-yard line. And on a day where Nebraska hasn't had much going here, especially in the second half, they've got a nice drive that's being put together by Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, and it's a great job by Emmitt Smith. Positive, weaves in right, weaves in left, weaves back in right before he gets tackled. I mean, he's such a special talent, the Minneapolis native.
Raiola back to pass. Steps up out of the pocket, not much going there. Tries to hit Emmett Johnson, but nothing is going there.
And Raiola just
Raiola's
limps
limping
right after that, yeah.
I'm sure he'll fight through it. It's a very strong mentality the young man does from Georgia. Just not able to get anything there. No harm, no foul. And at this point,
and yeah, Raiola he still looks uncomfortable. I mean, he's grabbed his left ankle there for a second. I mean,
I think it might be the knee, the left knee. Either way, Raiola still in. Take the snap, back to pass once again, looking toward the outside. Wanted Lindenmeyer, but nothing there. It was Darius Green in coverage, just overthrew him. Wonder if on that planting foot is affecting him on the throw there. It'll be 4th down and 1, something that Nebraska's going to have to convert if they want a chance to even try and come back with 3:15 remaining.
Yeah, and Nebraska, I mean, if they don't get anything here, the game's most likely just over at this point. But it's just, it hasn't been positive for them. They haven't at all.
Raiola's going to hand it off to Emmett Johnson to try and get the first down, and it's going to be stopped. Jackson Howard, Zaquan Bryan and company in there for the stop. Matt Kingsbury and Rashawn Lawrence in there. And Minnesota is going to take the win. Their first ranked win is going to come since their win in Illinois last year, where they went into Champaign and took the Illini down 24-16, if I recall right.
Yeah, and Emmitt Smith is just swallowed by 4 defenders, and you can see now the Nebraska fans leaving the stadium. And I mean, it's just it has not been a good offensive performance today. You've had problems with the offensive line. The run game hasn't failed them completely, but only rushing for 46 yards all game. It just has not been successful for this Nebraska offense, and it's shown. Dylan Raiola hasn't had much to work with. He's tried. He completed 16 passes out of 24 attempts, 67% completion percentage. But like, again, it's just these simple things that Nebraska hasn't been able to break down this Gopher offense. Haven't scored a touchdown all night, Tim.
That's a first for them in a game this year. Even in their one loss against Michigan, still put up 27 points. I was going to say 24. With 3:10 remaining, I would assume the Gophers just need one first down before they can kneel it out, given that Nebraska has no timeouts. So they'll look to get that and not have to punt it away. Lindsey will hand off to Darius Taylor. Nothing there. Be a no gain at the 37 still. The student section is still there waiting. Just, I don't know, I'm kind of curious as to whether you even try a field rush here. I'm not for it, beating a number 25 opponent who doesn't look impressive to me, but that's just my football 2 cents.
Tim, are you trying to speak for a student section right now?
Well, I did just have a class where the guy who runs risk management for this stadium told me about how he feels about field rushes, and he's not a fan. Handoff to Darius Taylor, gets up ahead to about the 39-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 8 for the Gophers to try and put this one away.
So, Tim, you know, on top of your play-by-play duties, you're a field risk manager expert.
I just take a class, man, a corporate risk management class. I paid attention. Actually just completed that class, 7-week class. Pretty good class. And Chief Swanson, a great guy, actually. Again, my favorite presentation of the year. So there'll be a timeout on the field for the 2-minute timeout. And we will take our final break of the day. Minnesota looking to put the nail in the coffin officially. We'll be right back on Radio K Sports. Welcome back inside Huntington Bank Stadium as I'm going to take a look ahead for the Gopher football team as it looks like the student section is getting ready to rush the field. Gophers, after their win today, are going to travel to Iowa City, a place that has not been very kind to them. Of course, last time the Gophers were there, the controversial Cooper DeJean return touchdown on the punt that got waved off, and the Gophers beat Iowa 12-10 the last time they were there. Iowa responds by coming back last year and beating the Gophers pretty good. Caleb Johnson had over 200 rushing yards in that one. So we'll look at the Gophers being 5-2 to try and improve their record to 6-2 and even threaten towards, are the Gophers going to be ranked? Are the Gophers going to keep rolling I know they took a 39-point beatdown to Ohio State, but with their upcoming schedule, if they can beat Iowa, they have Michigan State back at home on November 1st. We'll get Max Waschuk on the call for that one. And then after that, you head into Autzen. If you can head into Autzen at 7-2, I think that would look pretty good.
Yeah, and it's a winnable schedule for this Gopher team that's really gained some motion. They've gained some traction recently. They're unbeaten at home, and they're about to be 3-1 in Big Ten play if they can see this out. And it's been very impressive tonight. This Gophers offensive line, which we had a lot of questions about, has really shown such composure tonight.
Out of the 2-minute timeout, Lindsay will hand it off on 3rd and 8 to Taylor, trying to break outside. It's not going to get that first down, and the Gophers are going to have to punt it away. It'll, I believe, just be a formality at that point.
Yeah, and it's all she wrote. This Gopher team just wanted to take time off the clock at this point, and they've done the job tonight. They've defended their home turf. This Gopher defense has only allowed for 6 points tonight. Nebraska has not scored a single touchdown. Dylan Raiola has not thrown for a single touchdown pass tonight, and that is what many teams have failed to do this season. So this Gophers defense needs to pat themselves on the back, and this is a Nebraska team that hasn't won back-to-back road games since 2006.
And today will not be that day where they win back-to-back road games. Nebraska will head to Northwestern next. So I'm not too worried about them making a bowl game, as there is a timeout as the Gophers let it run down to 1:13 before punting, and then they can make it official. But Nebraska heading to Northwestern. Northwestern, a team that actually just came off a win against Penn State in Happy Valley. A very injured Penn State, but still a Penn State nonetheless. You wonder how this affects them. Can they get back on track? Can Raiola look like the Heisman candidate that he was really coming into this game? But a game like this is just going to get you out of that conversation really quick.
Yeah, but I mean, Raiola, he showed that he is a top quarterback today. It was, there was a lot of drops. There was a lot of penalties by his team, but he made, when he was asked of it, he made plays. It's just one of those unlucky days at the office if you're Raiola, and it's not a game that you want to have.
Doesn't help when you're on the turf 8 times. Barney will take the punt return. Avoids a tackle. He's actually going to keep going here. Heads to the outside, still on his feet. 35-40. He's going to get driven out of bounds at the 45, finally taken out by Joey Gerlach.
And that is a great run by Barney Jr. That is honestly, the way he weaves through that many defenders. 1 defender, 2 defender, 3, goes back inside, back outside. I mean, he's dancing. I mean, great job. But I mean, at this point, it's consolation with under a minute left. This Nebraska side needs to do some self-evaluation. I mean, you're ranked 25 in the country, and you're not able to score a single touchdown. It is not the night you want. Matt Ruley in his 3rd year, he said last year they were 5-1. They wore the whiteouts, and they lost. They got beaten. They got brutally beaten by Indiana, and it's the same story again.
Raiola back to pass. It'll be Lindemeyer breaking a couple tackles. Up to just past the 50, just before the 50, excuse me. And on what you can call a little bit of stat padding, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, Tim, before this game, Matt Ruley said, hey, Dylan Raiola said he said to Dylan Raiola, if we're gonna wear our whiteouts, we need to win. And it hasn't happened.
Raiola's taken down for the 9th time today. It's gonna be Carter Menz and Anthony Smith both getting a half of a sack, both of them up to 2.5 sacks on the day. What a day for this Gophers defense. Man, just incredible what they've been able to do, as that's going to probably be all she wrote. The students are going to get ready to storm the field here at Huntington Bank. I think it's going to be the biggest win here at the bank this year.
And the students have stormed the field. That's all she wrote, Tim. And I mean, is this a field risk management?
I don't know. I still don't know if I agree with the field rush on this game, but when you beat Nebraska, you beat a rival, and you beat them up good, and they come in ranked. I can't be too mad about it.
Yeah, and
there's a man who just did a front flip on the field. My goodness. But either way, that's going to be the 6th straight win for the Gophers against these Nebraska Cornhuskers. And just an incredible show of who the Gophers really are. We had some questions last week with that shaky win against Purdue. But man, did they come out here today and make a statement. The Gophers moved to 5-2, 3-1 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a great performance by this Gopher defense. It's a great performance by Drake Lindsay, and it's a wonderful performance by my man of the match, Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor rushing for 148 yards this game and had 16 receiving yards and a touchdown to go with it. Darius Taylor, he's proven once again why he's one of the best in this game today, one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, and he's improved every single season so far, and you just can't wait to see more of him. This is just such a phenomenal win if you're a Gophers fan, and this is what you want to see. And I mean, as the fans are rushing the field, there needs to be questions asked of this Nebraska side, and quite frankly, a lot of questions were asked of Minnesota, and they answered every single one. And this is one of those games that these Gopher players will remember. Friday Night Lights, not allowing the 25th team in the country to score a touchdown. This is a big, big performance by the Gophers. PJ Fleck needs to pat himself on the back, and these players just deserve all the credit.
Well, we're going to wrap up our coverage here on Radio K. We appreciate all of you listening in to this beautiful, beautiful day for Gopher football. Cannot ask for a better day. I don't care. I love it. I love this day. I love this performance from the Gophers. And we'll see you again on November 1st against Michigan State. Thanks for listening, and I'm Tim Serb, joined alongside Ahmed Hassan. You're listening to Radio K Sports here in Minneapolis.